No matter how much any of us love to have that attitude of, I don't give a fuck, towards things, deep down we all know there lies a moral compass of rules we have for ourselves regarding what should and shouldn't be done. But what would it take for you to break those rules? What extreme circumstances would have to present themselves for you to consider going against everything you believe in? The possibility of a loved one dying? The possibility of yourself dying? What about the possibility of the entirety of life dying? Well, the Watcher sure can answer that one for you, and I'm sure if you're aware of the premise of the show, you can guess which of those scenarios got his rule to be broken. But how did everything play out? Did it all work in his and the multiverse's favor? Was this a good fucking finale? Good questions all around. Let's get into it. The episode begins with the Watcher breaking his oath of not interfering and rounds up his roster for the Guardians of the Multiverse, compiling of Captain Carter, Star-Lord T'Challa, a Gamora that was apparently supposed to have her own episode but has gotten pushed back to the second season, Killmonger, Jersey Thor, and of course, the one who the Watcher called upon at the end of the preceding episode, Strange Supreme. Without wasting any time, the Watcher explains to the group that the threat of Ultron is imminent and will wipe out the entirety of living beings throughout the multiverse unless they band together to stop him. Only two problems: how to find him and how to defeat him. Strange Supreme suggests that the most effective method would be to somehow manage to separate Ultron from the Infinity Stones, and then Gamora reveals she has a device specifically engineered to grind the stones into nothing, so plan settled. But after the team shares a toast to themselves, Thor brings down some thunder, which then raises the awareness of the multiversal conqueror. As the villainous robot arrives, Strange Supreme performs a temporary protection spell so that everybody has an excusable reason to survive a punch from Ultron. They creatively work together to get T'Challa to him so he can sneakily steal the Soul Stone away, which will help power Gamora's stone-crushing machine. Ironic that you need a stone to power the machine that destroys stones, don't you think? Once the stone is obtained, Strange brings down another distraction for Ultron in the form of the zombies we saw from episode 5, including zombie Wanda, though Ultron makes quick work of her, which is understandable since Ultron still has 5 of the 6 stones, but is also a slight disappointment as it almost felt like they brought her back for nearly nothing. The Guardians escape over to the universe where Infinite Ultron originally began at, the same universe where Black Widow is the sole survivor. Of course, she quickly makes her way over to the team to find out who the hell they are and how the hell they got there. But before much can be explained, Ultron pops in and is like, "Bitch, give me back my stone." They all duke it out a bit, and just when it seems like Ultron's about to complete his collection again, Strange Supreme uses his Eye of Agamotto, which was super cool to see 2 time stones being used simultaneously, and releases Shuma-Gorath to hold him back. I have no confirmation that that's actually Shuma-Gorath, but it's the only option that makes any sense here. It's a bunch of fucking tentacles that's powerful enough to knock around a being with 5 Infinity Stones. Not many things in the Marvel Universe can do that. So, Gamora manages to get the Soul Stone and powers up her Stone Crusher, and then it proceeds to crush all of Ultron's stones. Or does it? You see, the problem that wasn't thought through here is that the Infinity Stones are unique to each particular universe, which in turn means that none of them are completely the same as others. So Gamora's Crusher, though able to crush the stones in her universe, is unfortunately completely ineffective here. Ultron rises back up and identifies that Strange Supreme is his main issue. If he can take him out, the rest of the Guardians will fall. Yeah, that doesn't lessen the importance of any of the heroes at all. But as he overconfidently states that, Natasha stumbles upon the arrow containing the Arnim Zola program. Wait, didn't they already use that arrow on a Sentry in the last episode? I'm guessing Natasha shoved the arrow in the Sentry and uploaded the program back in it somehow? Anyway, Captain Carter provides a distraction and Natasha fires away and hits Ultron right in the eye to upload Zola. We see the two programs argue a bit before Zola shuts Ultron down and he drops to the ground like a ton of bricks. Now the day is saved, right? Of course not. Killmonger uses the head of an Ultron Sentry to make the Infinity Gauntlet suit materialize onto himself. Wait, what? What the? How the fuck? Come on, man, no. I still can't convince myself to believe he had any way of knowing how to wipe the memory of Jarvis from episode 6, let alone having the knowledge and ability to make the suit form to his body and wield the Infinity Stones. Get the absolute flying Wakandan fuck out of here. But as he claims the power to be his, Zola uses Ultron's body to get up and tries taking back the suit for himself, leading Strange Supreme to come to the realization that the Guardians were never meant to win this battle. Their goal was to separate the stones from Ultron's body, and as Killmonger and Zola fought over them, that's exactly what had happened. So Strange uses the same technique he did in his universe and traps the two feuding villains in a pocket universe to fight each other forever and brings the final battle to a close. The Watcher sends everyone home, except Natasha, who straight up refuses since her home has been destroyed. Well, instead of fixing her world, he brings her to the murder mystery universe where their Natasha had died. So now everyone's happy. Then we get an after-credit scene showing Captain Carter finding a shipment containing the Hydra Stomper from episode 1, and to make it even better for her, Natasha reveals that someone is inside. Gosh, I wonder who it could be. Then the episode ends. There's the breakdown of, what if the Watcher broke his oath? This was such a solid season finale. All of the stories leading up to this culminated in a way that felt satisfying and fulfilling, for the most part, but I'll get to that in a minute. Seeing each of these variant heroes have their own adventures and then meet one another was an exciting experience that surprisingly felt reminiscent of the very first time we saw the Avengers come together in 2012. I loved the fight scenes against Ultron. They kept it fast-paced, but you could always tell what was happening. It was creative and relatively realistic with how these heroes would fight against such a threat and what they believably would be able to pull off. The references to the other episodes throughout were delicately sprinkled in and not overdone. It truly gave me so much of what I was hoping for and then some from a finale. With all that being said, of course, I have a couple of questions that have been burning a hole in my head since it ended. Although I can respect the fact that the reason we're seeing this specific group of heroes come together is because these are the heroes we just so happen to follow throughout the season, can we just take a moment to acknowledge how insanely out of a choice it was on the Watcher's end to choose them? He has the infinite roster of the multiverse at his fingertips, and he picks a couple of humans that are a bit stronger than average, a human with no powers at all, an alien, a god, and a wizard. Now trust me, I'm not saying the entirety of the lineup are bad choices, but there are a few that I'm not sure should have rightfully been there, and quite a few others that definitely should have been. Why no Captain Marvel? There's literally 2 of them that we've met within the murder mystery in the Party Thor episodes. It's funny how they've been making an effort to include her and show off how badass she can be, only to sideline her for the main event. And expanding on the thought of there being 2 of them, why not gather up a whole fucking army of Captain Marvels, or an army of Thors, or an army of Hulks, and so on and so forth? Ultron has what seems to be a never-ending army of sentries. Why limit yourself so heavily when you know how much is at stake? Literally everything is at stake. It just felt like an unnecessary boundary for the Watcher to set for himself. But that is just me being overly technical. They are a ragtag band of misfits that, just like the Guardians of the Galaxy, work surprisingly effective together. And that's probably just what was needed to get this done, I guess. Also, how does the after-credits scene with Captain Carter make any sense? Don't get me wrong, it's sweet. I enjoyed that they wanted to leave things on a happy note for her, and it felt like a nice nod to Captain America having a very similar desire to wanting to be with Peggy again, but to scrounge up the Hydra Stomper is one thing. Steve Rogers still being alive within it is a big ol' can of what the fuck? How? My guess is they would provide the excuse that he froze in ice like we're familiar with in our universe, but this time inside the Hydra Stomper. Okay, but how the fuck would he survive that? I'm only inclined to believe that the Steve Rogers from the Sacred Timeline survived being frozen in ice for so long due to the aid of the Super Soldier Serum. This Steve Rogers was still considered to be underdeveloped, and additionally, there was no explanation provided to believe that the Hydra Stomper would be able to sustain human life in those conditions for decades. A touching conclusion? Sure. A logical one? Not exactly. Aside from that, though, I am extremely excited to see what implications this show will have for the rest of the MCU and how much it may end up heavily connecting to the live-action movies and shows. I'm still sticking with my theory that Strange Supreme is the Doctor Strange that we see in the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, and I'm going to extend that theory and say that Strange Supreme is also the same version of Strange that supposedly shows up at the end of WandaVision. My guess is that this version of the Sorcerer will try to take advantage of the chaos magic Wanda can provide. Specifically, I'm sure he'll persuade her to assist him in bringing back his version of Christine Palmer, and in return he will assist in bringing back her twins/steal them from another universe. Perhaps a combination of their magic can make Wanda's fake reality real. Something of that nature. What if in the midst of that story happening, Strange Supreme leaves the pocket universe containing Killmonger and Arnim Zola unattended, and they end up breaking out into the Sacred Timeline? I'm down for however they want to mix it all together. I just hope they mix it all together, at least to some degree. And even if they don't, I'm still thrilled that my most anticipated Marvel project of the year turned out to be an extraordinarily enjoyable one. This whole season, even at its lowest moments, has kept me thoroughly entertained. I appreciate them making a solid effort to reinforce the power and impact of the Infinity Stones after the Loki show kind of made them seem like they were insignificant. I love the switch-ups they provided on the storylines and characters we're familiar with, and I can't wait to see what brand new interpretations of everything they will be bringing in Season 2. And as always, everyone, I want to know not only what you thought of this season finale, but what did you think about this show as a whole? Did you like to see all these characters come together? Are you satisfied with how it all concluded? Who would you most like to see pop up in a live-action project? Let me know all of those thoughts in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed this content, subscribe and hit that notifications bell to keep up with breakdowns of upcoming shows and movies, and I'll catch you at the next review.